This is the biggest worry for 2012. What is the risk of Iran through the Persian Gulf region? Surprisingly, we've seen a unified front from the Gulf Cooperation Council. We had a recent summit in Riyadh where they have asked Iran to stop meddling in the affairs of the GCC. They're even talking about not cooperation within the GCC, but unification. And that was taken as a sign to Iran that the GCC is unified. There's no cracks in this coalition of 6 countries. So what we have here, following up on the comments of Joe Doherty, is that you have the U.S., the European Union, Canada, and even the U.K. on its own pushing forward with sanctions on a unified basis, and even the Gulf states now suggesting they would like to have Iran kind of stay in its own box. So Iran's feeling quite boxed in, not only on the oil front, but also they put sanctions on the central bank, which makes it very difficult for Iran to conduct business with any partners, let alone those who have put on sanctions.
Okay, and if the sanctions are imposed, is there spare capacity to make up for the lost crude?
Spare capacity is hard to find right now. One would argue this is why the European Union and the U.S. have kind of delayed the sanctions, because Libya, as you remember, was out of the market after the disruption to its oil production. It's come back better than expected, now producing nearly 1 million barrels a day. Saudi Arabia, again, another sign to Iran saying that it will make up for the lost production if Iran decides to fiddle with the blockade and if the sanctions go through. This will bite Iran quite hard, Fanula. It makes about $73 billion a year from its oil exports. It produces about 3.5 million barrels a day, exporting about 2. We're looking at its production being cut from 400 to 500,000 barrels a day. It depends on what China, South Korea, and Japan really does going forward. But if this does go through, you're looking at a cut of $15 billion to the Iranian economy on an annualized basis.